Great to be at the Joburg Indaba 2025. As Futureworld, we are proud sponsors of this event. We're also intimately involved in helping mining companies create a prosperous future. And it's great to see the industry under Bernard's leadership come together and talk about the topical issues of the day.
Talking about the future of the industry with all of its problems. And I'm reminded, Jana, of our recent podcast series, Futureworld, where we examine challenges of leaders through themes like the Cassandra complex, the Ptolemaic pivot, the boiling frog syndrome, and so forth. And I'm reminded of a few of those scenarios when I listen to the challenges in this industry. How did you find the first day and the kind of connections back to, let's say, the boiling frog, where you just suffer this thing silently and wait for changes to happen, but they don't seem to come fast enough?
Well, it's interesting. I must be honest, if I think about the first day, if you think it's I think we have great leaders in the industry. It's not often that you see people that are as humble, that are obviously very realistic about where we are, but they've come a long way. They're the most transformed industry in the country. I think there's still a lot of finger pointing that's happening, even though I feel like government and industry is obviously collaborating a lot more. There's still a lot of the narrative around policy certainty, actually the quality of policy that's being implemented. That was a consistent narrative for me.
Absolutely.
I think it's an issue, yes, but what is the solution?
I think there were two things for me that stood out yesterday. And the one was the sort of robust question where the facilitators on stage were asking some really tough questions, which you don't often find at these sort of gatherings. It's mostly death by PowerPoint, which has been very refreshing in its absence. And I think the second was Duncan Van Blyth of Anglo American said, after 108 years of existence, we needed to reimagine what our future was, what our ideal future was. And we realized we had to go and create it differently. And so that was a big recognition to say the leaders in the room in this hugely industry, which is the foundation of the entire economy in this country, needs to reimagine it. And then couple that with the fact that South Africa and Africa in general, one of the most underexplored domains, jurisdictions from a minerals and mining point of view in the world. The reason is bad and sad because it's lack of exploration in the last 20 to 30 years. But the opportunity looking forwards, which is what we like to do, is so huge, very exciting.
I thought Ben Magara captured it very well. He spoke about the global megatrends of urbanization, AI transformation, the energy transition. For that to happen, it needs a lot of critical minerals. So we need to get our house in order for that to happen. It's a huge opportunity.
What I liked about that, Jana, was the fact that the critical minerals for AI, you think, all right, it's energy, right? That's pretty obvious. Yes. But what I didn't think about, again, it's maybe a second order implication, is once you've produced the energy, how do you transmit the energy? So transmission lines and all of the copper and other metals that go into that, and the huge demand for tens of thousands of kilometers of that. And of course, we're up against China and to some extent India in that race, and they're so far ahead of us. So to play catch-up is going to be a massive opportunity. That's just to catch up and surpass. But it's not just the production of energy as such. It's how do we get it to the data center?
That's also an interesting data point for me. We talk about critical minerals. Obviously, that means different things to different countries and different people. But long before that conversation even started, China already started securing those minerals, securing supply chains. They were very strategic in the way they sort of operated, and we are absolutely playing catch up. So there's a lot of work to do. I think just looking at the leadership, re-emphasizing that point down.
I've been very encouraged. I look around the room and I don't have to say I'm a reinvented South African, loyal South African, because I always have been. But I get incredibly inspired when I see the energy, the proficiency, the professionalism, people on the stage for the most part have been quite amazing. Just to wrap up, I think one of the other things that I took from this is the quite strong opposition to ferrochrome and tariffs or export tariffs, to say, stop it, just allow the industries to do what they're really good at. We can't just compete through those kind of measures. That was a big sort of aha moment. And then coupled with that is the realization that if we can't be distinctive, we shouldn't try and compete. So if we can't compete, for example, in aspects of beneficiation, don't impose a beneficiation requirement on an industry that isn't geared for it and competent and world best at it. So again, allow these market forces to take root and allow the players to do what they need to do. And it reminds me of the Prime Ministers of India 15, 20 years ago was saying that government's role is in fact to lay the foundation, create the racetrack, and then get off it and allow the racers to actually do what they're brilliant at. And for me, that was quite a big aha thing. So let's not falsely try and support industries in our country where we're not going to be globally best of breed and reset the benchmark. Overall, fascinating time together.